Hello everyone, let's talk about the initiative meter in Too Many Bones. Now what you're seeing here is the initiative meter in front of you with the round die sitting inside of it. Now in a battle, a single turn from each baddie and gearlock make up a full round. So the initiative meter tracks the current round and whose turn it is. It also gives you a visual forecast of who will be attacking next and in what order. Initiative is built downward on the meter from highest going first to lowest going last. So the round counter die here goes on top of the initiative meter, starting with the R1, denoting round 1. And this die is going to increase every single round. But before we do that, we'll talk about actually filling in the individuals that are also within this initiative meter. So when you're beginning an encounter and you have your enemies placed as you do, you're going to look to see what lane they came in on. So if this particular baddie was in lane number 1, its initiative denotes 5. So you're looking for lane 1 and 5. You'd be looking at the blue die because that correlates to this particular lane. It also shows the 1 in the corner no matter what side of the dice you're on. And the 5 correlates to the initiative on the actual chip because, again, any type of enemy could show up there at a different initiative. So this 5 will go underneath the round marker as the very first individual to go starting in the first round. Then you move to your next baddie, so lane number 2. This one also happens to be a 5 for initiative, so we're looking for the exact same. It's going to be a different color, but a 2 for the lane. When there's a tie in initiative, it's always by lane priority, and lane 1 is always considered the highest priority, then it goes down to 2, then 3, and then 4. So in this case, it would sit underneath of this one here. Even though they're the same, lane 1 takes priority over 2. Then what would happen is there is no set or preset lane determination for these two individual gearlocks. These two individual gearlocks would roll their initiative dice and then go from there. Now, if you are a hero and you happen to roll a 5, you automatically will go ahead of any enemies in play. And of course, if you roll something as low as a 2, you're going last place. And that basically makes up your initiative meter prior to playing the game. Now, or that particular encounter. Now the round here will tick up at the fulfillment of every single round. So as you go through your character's rounds, you can essentially start the track down at the bottom, and you could even move the round marker to the top if it makes it easy for you. And as you go through each of the player's turns, you just move the particular die up the track in order to denote that you successfully completed that individual's turn. And when it's done, you could just reset this back down and start flipping the round die. As you're flipping it, you'll notice it goes from R1 to R2 to R3 to R4, and then goes to R5, and finally comes back around to the 6th round is a fatigue round. That's what this blood drop denotes. When this blood drop happens, at the start of that particular round, every single individual on the maps at the start of the turn loses 1 HP. So in this case, this enemy only had 1 left. It would actually kill off this enemy. And again, you'd remove your initiative die off to the side. And you'd be losing 1 off every single character in play. This will continue to be in play at the start of every single round until a victor is found, whether it's the gearlocks winning the encounter or ended up killing off all of the baddies. So it's a very strategic thing to keep in mind. Now, after round, so that's how you set up the initiative meter in round 1. But after round 2 and beyond, things get a little bit different. After the initial initiative placement is set for gearlocks and baddies, the number on those dice no longer matters. So in other words, you can take a look at these numbers, they don't matter anymore. It's just more so about the placement of the dice from highest to just from top to bottom. Units that enter the battle after round 1 will always enter at the top or bottom of the initiative track, meaning it'll either pop in here or they would pop in here. And it depends on what type of character or enemy they are. All gearlocks, tyrants, and 20-point baddies will always enter at the top of the initiative track as they are very, very strong characters. All 1-point and 5-point baddies, however, will show up at the bottom of the initiative track for any that come in after round 1. Units with their initiative spots modified during the round will take their new spots only. So again, there's only room for so many enemies, so you can only at max have up to 4 enemies on the battle mat at once, and all enemies that are still waiting in the queue have to wait until one of the particular lanes are open or available based on a death in order to then enter and then be placed in the initiative track.